I started selling reefer when I was 12 years old. I delivered the paper for the Washington Post. I would go out every morning at 4 o'clock. I'd get my little buck something at the end of the month, and I had a pocket full of loot, and I said, what are we going to do now? And I bought a quarter pound of Panama Red. Good reefer back in them days. And from there I started.
Like I said, we met at a graduation party when I was 18. And he was bad then. He had sunglasses on at night. And that should have told me something right there. A lot of times he's a pretty crappy husband and a pretty crappy father, you know, because he's got all this other stuff going on.
I was like 2 years old, and that was the first time I saw him handcuffed. He was in rehab for a long time when I was real little. He was pretty bad with cocaine, and I have a feeling she even knows that we have a feeling there's been other things involved in the somewhat recent times. He's always been like an upper person. He needs something to boost him, so I just don't know why. And he drinks to no end. He could kill a case in one day if he wanted to.
You know, he left us for 3 years when it's when I started working at UPS at night, and there were times when my kids were alone, and we were living on $200 a week, and he basically just left us. And my daughter Madeline that's pretty much when she gave up on school. She tells me, you know, I don't know what he was doing down there. Obviously he was, as he says, slinging dope, but meanwhile we were struggling. We were hungry, you know. It's hard.
When I really started to see the good side of Mexico, I was taken to the horse races in the Galles by Findenzio. And they took me to the boot place and bought me boots, and they brought me the sombrero, you know, boom, I'm part Mexican now. So the next day they say, come on, we want to take you somewhere. And next thing you know, I'm starting to drive out of town into the countryside, and I'm like, yeah, in the back of your mind, hey man, am I getting whacked or what? And they take me down these roads, dude, out in the middle of nowhere, and I come into this open field, like a huge football field, and there's 10,000 guys with white hats on and boots, man. It's the horse races in the Galles. It was the freakiest scene I ever seen, man. And people are fucking drunk. And they got the guy, and Michoacan, he's a DJ. He's talking all the people from Michoacan, all the people from Guerrero, you know, and everyone's yelling. And the way you bet on horses in Mexico, at least at this racetrack, dude, it's like a clandestine put together by the local horse owners, you know, and you're walking down in the stands, traes izquierda. You want the horse on the right or the horse on the left, you know, and they only run their quarter horses. They run a quarter mile, they run straight, dude. But in the midst of that, hey, Franco Bon, this is Senor So-and-so, and he's using me to, same way I'm using him, man, but just in business, in a good way. You know, and I'm feeling this, I'm catching this, you know, through body language, the way people are talking, and I'm picking up Spanish. And now I'm meeting his family, his mother, Herminia, who I love dearly, and Elizabeth. Here's this beautiful, I mean, Selma Hayek can't hold a candle to her, dude. That's how bad to the bone she is, right? And, you know, she's wearing the white jeans with the pink cowboy boots, with the, I mean, it's, you know, these girls grew up on ranches, you know, they ride horses and rope steer, man, you know, they're, you know. Of course, I've been away from home a long time, too, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, check this out. Boom. And I'm like, you know, walking and watch to me. And Findenzio walks up and goes, ah, it's me, hermana. It's my sister, man. I went, oh, fuck. How all, you know? And you're working now. You're wondering, oh, wow. You know, you go, man, this guy had like 12 brothers. You know what I mean? Big family, you know? And we had a nice, she followed me all around. Elizabeth's going, hey, you married? I said, only across the border. Only on the other side, you know, and they all laugh, and I'm dancing, dude, of course, so out of shape. And Elizabeth is checking me out, you know what I mean? Elizabeth's making her move, you know, and I'm like, man, if, you know, this is not a good situation for me because, you know, I'm doing business with this guy, you know, and all the brothers are coming up messing with me. Hey, man, my sister's following you around everywhere you go, huh? What's up? You know, and messing with me, you know what I mean? And before I leave that night, you know, she sends her son up to me, Junior. You know, she had one of her own. He says, my mother wants to know when you're coming back. I said, oh, I'll be back a lot, you know. Me and Findenzio were friends, you know what I mean? Well, they knew what their uncle did, and they knew why I was there. But he says, you know, my mom wants to know when you're coming back. I said, oh, I'll be back when he says, no. She wants to know when you're coming back to see her. And I said, oh, wow, here we go with this whole thing, you know? But in the end, she turned out to be like, wow, one of the, you know, you meet 3 great ladies in your life, right? You know, from your mother being one, right? I got one for 20 years, and this was number 3, man. And I mean, it was incredible.
He was in jail for, I think, like a half a year when I was in 3rd grade. So when he left, things got kind of pretty bad. My mom started drinking really bad. She became really heavy alcoholic. You know, she became a little out there, but after a while she realized what she was doing and how bad it was affecting us, and that we did need some kind of parental figure in our life. So she turned her life around and went to University of Pennsylvania and just stopped drinking. He was never home. Like, in the 3 years that he was gone, he was probably home a total of like 7 months, if that. But he told us was that it was for us, but you never knew if that was the truth. He could have just been running away.
I'm at El Jefe's house, and I see this cab pull up. And this fucking 6'5", 6'4" dude gets out, using his jaws, boom, boom, bang. It's cut, and I'm like, he's got the cowboy hat on. He walks in, and I see him go right up to the boss. You know what I mean? He's talking to the boss. I'm like, guy's somebody, you know, because Chapo is coming to me going, hey, Matt, he speaks perfect. When's the money showing up? So I can see this guy's here for loot. The reason he was in Obregon at El Jefe's house, he had stole a fucking airplane. He walked right on someone's ranch, got in their fucking airplane, and took the fuck off. And landed it right on his landing strip there, and was there going, where's my fucking money? He didn't care what a big shot my boss was. You contracted me to get you another plane. Your plane's here. I want my money. And I want it now, motherfucker. Our job was to babysit this guy. So the next morning we pick this guy up, right? We go, and I call him the Vaquero, the cowboy. And he's a nasty motherfucker. You can just tell that this guy, he's Diablo. He's one of the devil's henchmen. And during the day, I see the Vaquero, he gets on the cell phone and he starts freaking. I mean, the freaking out reminded me of my father. Shit flying out of his mouth. You motherfucker. He's telling some guy on the phone. What he's telling this guy is, you landed a load on my ranch yesterday, and you were to have my fucking money today. And now I've been calling you since 9 o'clock this morning, and you don't answer me till noon. I'm fucking killing you. Matter of fact, in 2 hours, I'll be back. He was 2 hours away from his town called Magdalena. He goes, in 2 hours, I'm going to be back, and you'll be dead in like 2 hours and 15 minutes. He goes, you know what, forget that. He says, my partner's there, and he's killed like twice as many men as me, and you're going to be dead in 20 minutes. The next morning, the old man comes to the door, and Chapo tells him, man, this guy's talking a lot of shit yesterday. You know, this Vaquero guy, he's like, you know, he's talking about he's killed 38 fucking people, and he killed 12 people at once, and the boss got real serious. And he goes, I want you to apologize to Franco for me having him around this fucking nut. And he said, it's all true. He goes, we all hire him. He's the guy. The Vaquero would kidnap a guy like me. That's what he did for a living, come to find out. He'd come to Tucson, he'd track you down. He obviously had skills, and he had people there. They'd put you in the trunk of a car, and they'd take you back across the border. Then they'd take you out in the Sonoran Desert, and they'd tie you to a saguaro cactus. You know, a saguaro cactus is about a 100-foot cactus, and the quills on a saguaro are like that. They'd take you out in the Sonoran Desert, they'd strip you naked, and they'd tie you to one. And they'd say, but they leave one arm enough for it to where there's the cell phone. Call and get the money. We're going to be back in 3 days. We don't want to know where the money, no. You have the money right here at this fucking cactus. Here's your longitude and latitude. Tell them straight up. Didn't give a fuck who they brought. They'd whack them. And that fucking money would show up, dude. So fucking, I spend the next day with this guy. And he's feeling a little down and out. He's waiting for his money. He's got no money. So he started to kid with me. Hey, Frank, if he happens to get a magic marker and put number 39 on your shoulder, man. Fuck out of here, And so we're getting fucked up. And he said, I said, hey, ¿qué onda? No dinero. That's all right. I have some money, man. You need money? No perico, no cocaine. I'll get you some cocaine, man. I said, okay, but Carol, here's some money. He knows somebody in town. I said, we'll see in a little while. Well, like 4 hours later, I'm going, where the fuck is this guy? It's my loot. It's my blow, whatever. I'm a little fucked up. Now I'm ready to do 1 or 2. And they say, hey, take it easy, Franco, with this guy, Yeah, fuck him. We're going to go find him. They're like, go ahead, man. This is where I'd cross the line, and they go, this guy's fucking out of his mind, dude. They're fucking with a sociopath. But the guy loved me. That was the key. I knew the guy liked me, and I'd play that, and I'd go out in the middle of the street, hey, ¿qué onda, vaquero? And he'd come out like, look at you, you little 5-foot motherfucker. Out here in the street calling me up. And he'd come down and go, don't worry about it. I was just snorting all their shit first. And we'd get in the truck, and the pickup truck be going 50 miles an hour down the road, and he'd say, let's get high. If we can get high back here going 50, no problem. That motherfucker would open that bag and he'd take a rock and he'd stick it right up his nose, each nostril, and he'd crush it right in his nose. And I'd go, oh, I'd see the top of his head flap off, man. I'd go, oh my God, look at this fucking nut. He told me the first guy he killed for me, he killed for free. Second guy, $5,000. He loved me.
He hit somebody on the 23rd of December in a truck that was registered in my name and insured in my name, and policemen, state troopers showed up at the house and were questioning me, and I had to, lie to the cops, because unfortunately he did tell me on New Year's Eve, told me and Julia, my daughter, I had to lie to a cop. I had to lie to a state trooper. I mean, I've never done that before. I wasn't very comfortable doing that. I was scared shitless. He was asking me about the truck, where it was, and I said it was in the transmission shop. That's what Matt told me to say. I said I haven't seen it in about 10 days, 2 weeks. And he's going, What color's the truck? I said it's white and red. And he goes, well, we have witnesses and a partial tag. And I'm like, well, go ask Matt. Go find Matt. And he told me, well, we have Matt. He's in custody. I was afraid they were going to come and search the house. And then I would have been in jail. Where would my kids be? I mean, he grows shit in our basement. Madeline called her boyfriend up right away. She said, we got to get that stuff out of the house. And this is my 17-year-old talking to me. This poor kid, Rocky, takes the stuff. After I made sure, I said, Rocky, you sure you want to do this? I mean, I would never be able to live with myself if I ruined this kid's life, No way. But he took it, and then I swear to God, 7 minutes later, a police car drove up in our driveway, and I thought they had got him. I thought they were watching him, and I thought, I've ruined this kid's life, and now our life is ruined, But it was Matt. They were bringing him back. And he just waltzes in the door, and he says, it's all right, it's all right. Tell Rocky, bring it back. They can't find it. They won't find it. It's always just, I overreact. He always tells me I overreact, I don't overreact. I don't like living this. I'm married to a drug dealer, It's not fun.
I had sent a good friend of mine, Michael, and he went up in March as a digital photographer that was taking pictures of all the museums in Vancouver. Gonna do some shit on the internet or whatever. And I said, your job is to go find the people. I'm gonna buy the seeds. And he did his job. Came back, he says, I got the guys. I sent Walter there with $40,000 taped to his body with one of my drivers. They crossed it to Seattle, Washington border, and they went to Vancouver. Made contact with our buddies at Blunt Brothers. And everything's good. Frank, come on. Boom, I got off the plane, picked me up. They took me to a beautiful, there's the perks, huh? They took me to this fucking beautiful multi-million-dollar home that overlooked British Columbia, Vancouver Harbor. And fucking the front of it, of the room was nothing but glass. The bed was the biggest sleigh bed I'd ever seen in my life. I fit like 5 whores in that bed that night. I'm there in like late April, and there's snow in the mountains, and there's Vancouver Harbor, and it's a very international city, and hey man, I'm on a fucking roll. Walter, after carrying this money for like 4 fucking days, taped up to his body, he's like, Matty, I'm uncomfortable. You know, with them sitting there. I said, it's good, you good? Walter, everything's good here? I said, you guys good? I said, go ahead, man. He took his shit off, boom, rolled that money out. They were like, okay, this fucking guy's the real deal. So, you know, the whores come, boom, the mushrooms, because it wasn't time to do business. You know what I mean? And boom, give me that money. That money will stay with me. I'll take care of it. Go get high, get laid, whatever. Great night. Had a wonderful night. Courier leaves. This is what I want. I want 5,000 of these. I want 1,000 of these, 1,000 of those, 1,000 of this string, 1,000 of this string, 1,000 of this string. And I told him, look, you can bring a bunch of fucking Samia in an envelope. Understand this. When I get up into Sierra Madre, and months later, when this stuff starts to bloom, if it ain't what you tell me it is, I'm going to be dead. Trust me that. But someone's going to come kill you. 3 days later, courier shows up. Boom, here's your fucking money. I left with 7,000, 8,000 seeds. The next day, I tape them here. Gotta walk them across. We walk, we don't drive. Boom, boss got the cab there, off to the airport we go. Boom, get on the plane. Boom, Hermosillo. Car picks up in Hermosillo, now we're in Obregon. Boom, seeds go in sacks of flour. That's where we put the seeds in. Stitch them back up, just like they were. They're carried up to the Sierra in late April. Early May I go. No one goes to the Sierra Madre but people who grew up there. Or someone who's working them, El Jefe, who's got them under their thumb. My guy wasn't like that. And we would go, first gate I got to, it was very bizarre because we're all in this truck and you come to a gate and Chapo and Omar would go out and this cat, it was early morning, you know, and he came out and they'd talk for like 5 minutes and then no one would say anything for 15 minutes. And then they'd talk for another couple minutes. And while I sat in the truck. And then quiet, 15 minutes. And then Chapo comes and he goes, get the phone. Get the satellite phone. I'd put the satellite for the Iridium up, boom, and it'd tell me move to higher ground. I'd have to walk up the fucking mountain a little bit and boom. He'd follow me and they'd call El Jefe. They'd call Chema. And boom, this dude would walk up, he'd go on the phone, gate would open. And everybody was a little funny on me on the back of the way. You know, points on the pickup truck, you're riding on the back bumper. You know what I mean? And there was this brother, his name was Paulie. You know, he's got the AK-47, and he's a little funny with me. You know, we're bringing this gringo up into our world, you know what I mean? Ay, ¿qué onda, Franco? Mucho dinero para allá, la montaña. There's a lot of money up here in the mountains, feel me? First, I learned the ways. You know, first our God, my friend. Then we'll worry about the money. First, let's try to stay alive. And then maybe the money will come. Sí, está bueno. I would always give the right answers, you know? They said, okay, boom, we're here. This is, you know, 22 hours later. And I got out, I carried some shit. I had brought all this shit when I was in Canada. I went to a mining company. I'd bought tents, I bought, you know, nice shit. Bear repellent. Can't have a gun. I said, fuck it. I'll buy this shit. I start walking. They said to me, man, it's very muy importante, Franco. You know, you're carrying the flour for the tortillas. Don't fuck this up. Without this, we're fucked. You know? And I had bought, in El Cajon, I had bought brand new hiking Timberlands or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Dude, I had blisters the size of fucking $50 on my heels. And the fucking rain comes. It rains in the Sierra 3-4 times a day. And I walked and I walked and I walked, man. And by the time we had got down to the bottom of the valley, we were in this arroyo, this creek, man, which is ice fucking cold, and you're walking through this motherfucker. And at the end was Chama's father. When the old man saw me walking through that creek, it was a defining moment. ¿Qué onda, Franco? This guy was 65, but of course they all dye their hair and their mustache. He probably looked 50. And everyone stopped. And they said, this is the boss's father. And he knows the fucking gringo. It all changed. Like that, bro. I mean, like that. Come up, give me a fucking hug in the middle of this ice cold fucking creek. Hey, mi amigo, es pinche Italiano, no pinche gringo. Huh? It's mi hijos amigo. It's my son's friend, you know. Todo está bien, you know. It was boom. You could feel everything change. And the next day, boom, Chama's father walked me. He goes, let me show you your shit. You know, and we'd have 5,000 here, and then it'd be 1,000 here, then it'd be 3,000 here, and 4. The whole valley was full of shit. Full of shit, dude. It's the most incredible thing you ever saw in your life.
I think what happened was, you know, he didn't learn another trade. You know, he never moved on from drug dealing. It's the only job he could do. You know, he had a record, so no one would hire him. But, you know, I mean, I think he thrives on it, you know, it gets him going.
He just, I don't know, he just can't change.
Think so?
At this point, yeah, I really do. I think jail, honestly, would probably be the only solution. I think that would kind of be, hopefully, like, he'll just sit in there. I mean, there's not much to do in jail, but he says this all the time, but lift weights and watch cartoons, so hopefully he'll sit there and think about if he really wants to come out and just, you know, do the whole thing over again, because it's not fun. And it's not, you know, fun roller coaster ride. It's kind of like pain in the ass. You just want it to be over.
Man, I had a great run, dude. I had a great run. It was the most incredible journey. I would have liked to have had my family with me there and come home in Mexico or Tucson to my family. Only time I got hit, dude, is the only time in my life that I sold reefer to a Mexican instead of buying it. I sold reefer to a Mexican, and I followed him to the Sheraton in Tucson. And when we hit the parking lot, he had about 300, 400 pounds. And when he hit the parking lot, there were 30 fucking cops there. I was in a trail car. We just kept going. And of course, some fucking DEA agent got up on us, fucking boom, pull it, old man, fucking shaking. Boom. I said, oh, hands, man, hands. Check him out. I swore to God he was gonna shoot us. What are you doing following the car? I said, what car are you talking about, man? You kidding me? Come on, man, what do you want? I want to search on McDuff? You know, cuffed us, and in my pocket was the whole manifest to every bail that was in that fucking, it was an SUV, a Nissan Pathfinder. That's what it was. And dummy didn't even know. They had the fucking car bugged. They had the whole fucking bit going on, unbeknownst to me.
So you got busted because you had the manifest?
Dude, he goes, give me, I got me cuffed. He's going, let me see some fucking ID. He goes, oh, where? I said, oh, I can get it with my cuffs because I didn't want him going in my shit. I could fucking reach in my pocket, and I got my ID out. I gave it to him. They never found it. Boom, about 20 minutes later, No reefer, no nothing. But what I'm sure happened was he got on the radio and says, don't worry, we know where they live. Let them go. So I said, crazy, we got two choices here. I said, one, we never go back to the house and we're going to be on the lam. Or two, we go back, clean up, see if Dummy can hang tight and get the shit to a storage bin or something. Get it to another house. So we went back and I cleaned the whole house. I put fucking everything in the garage. A nice 45. Burned all my records. Shredded them, I had a shredding machine. Triangular shredder. Vacuumed the fucking house. It took a while. It took a good 2 hours, you know? And I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out. We're going to leave everything here. We're going to go get in the van. We're going to go down and fill the van up and see if anything happens. And shit. Right when I walked out the front door, I seen a car in the driveway across the street. I seen a car in front. I said, they're here. They pulled up, get on the ground, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, man. I said, it's cool. I said, get all these fucking cars out from out of here, man. I said, I'll work with you. Because these guys were already fucking me, you know? I'd already known if that had ever happened, it was already happening.
But what'd you get busted for?
They were still about 500 pounds in the house. Dude, it was the quickest. His name is Joe Labram. Joe Labram's the head Fed prosecutor. I went before the grand jury, dude. He had charts and this and that. And fucking, it was the quickest indictment he ever gotten in his life. And I said, I'll give you two guys that I was going to kill anyway. So you're doing them a favor by putting them in jail.
It's like he's a cat. He's had 9 lives. And like with the RV being pulled over, and I don't know how many cars he's wrecked, and how many how many near misses he's had getting busted.
We thought that our dad was a drug dealer all his life, and then, I don't know. Do you know?
Yeah, I know
okay,
everything,
okay.
pretty much.
So then, one day we're moving because we, are being told a completely opposite thing, that he's a good guy now, but the motive behind it was because he couldn't spend the rest of his life in jail, so he had to be a narc.
This has changed me, and he doesn't think it should. It's just constant chaos, and it just seems to follow him wherever he goes. And and we get the brunt of it, the three of us. Financially, I'm ruined. My credit is horrible. I can't get a car. It's, I'm paying for what he does. I don't appreciate it, and I'm tired of all this.
He wants us to have the best lives. I know that. He always says, your future is so bright, and he just wants us to have a really good life, and he wants us to look back on this and, not be like them, and, not... Yeah, exactly. Learn from it and just not live a life like them. And he loves us. I know he does, and I love him.
I think he's deep down in his heart, he wants to be good and wants to, be decent and stuff, but what he does always gets in the way.